Okay, so we're going to talk through a few variations of the split squat here. A split squat is a pretty valuable tool because it allows us to load either side of our hip unilaterally, while it's also giving us the opportunity to train the quads through varying ranges, and it also gives us the rare opportunity to stimulate the quads in their fully lengthened position, obviously one leg at a time. If Callum sets up to do a normal split squat, so he just drops, if you drop 1 foot behind you, it'll be off this platform, but that's fine. And what he's going to think about doing is using both legs. So he's not going to be thinking about lowering himself too much over his leading leg. He's going to be thinking about lowering himself to a spot in between the two, which is going to need a relatively wide base, but it means he's going to be generating a reasonable amount of knee flexion in that leading leg, which is going to allow us to challenge that leading quad in about somewhere in its mid-range. And then in this rear leg, you can observe that he's achieving quite a decent degree of knee flexion, meaning that we're able to achieve a stimulation of this quad in its fully lengthened position, which is quite a rare thing. We're also in a reasonably stable position to then maximize recruitment through this rear quad whilst having the support of that leading leg to ensure we're not doing too much for that knee. Ways to improve this would be, if we wanted to increase the amount of knee flexion we're achieving in that leading leg, we could use a heel elevation in there. This would basically allow Callum to achieve a greater range of dorsiflexion, which would again just kind of extend the ranges of lengthening that we're able to get to in that leading quad, leading to a greater challenge there while still achieving a relatively good challenge to that lengthened range in that rear leg. And again, we're always thinking about using both legs together. If Callum was to then use a front foot elevated position, this would be another way of generating a reasonable amount of knee flexion or extra knee flexion in that leading quad. The difference here is that it also forces us into a greater range of hip flexion, which can be problematic in certain individuals if they don't have that range available to them, which is something you'd have to assess. If we were then to go onto a rear foot elevated elevation, the biggest thing we can observe here is that Callum would, which we'll see in a sec, is that Callum would basically have access to an even greater range of lengthening in that rear quad, which means we have to be even more respectful of how much range he has available in that rear knee. We wouldn't want to exceed that too much, but it's going to allow us to get right to the end range of that available lengthening in that quad. And ultimately, this is just another good way to challenge the quads through their range, and again offer that unilateral support from the opposing leg.